phone. You know, I remember telling Kenyans that the Hustler Fund, you don't need to know anybody. You know, government programs normally has bureaucracy. You have to know the MCA or the member of parliament or somebody influential, patronage, connections, those kind of things. But today, a Kenyan can borrow from the Hustler Fund without knowing anybody, without any security. And I wanted the same for capital markets. Today, we actualize that. Kenyans doesn't have to know a broker. They don't have to open a CDS account. They don't have to go to no office. From the comfort of their phones, they can participate in the capital markets. And it is my belief that we will now raise the number of people participating in our capital markets from 200,000 into the millions in a very short while. So if there was something bottom up, this is one of them. Pochi la Biashara, which he has just talked about, is the platform we are using to get more young people under the Nyota program. We now have 110,000 new entrepreneurs that we have brought into our platform. Entrepreneurs that now, because of the Pochi la Biashara framework, they have a financial instrument which they can use to run their business, separate from their personal accounts. You know, so when she says MSMEs, including small traders, forget about the people who are telling us 50,000 is not money. You know, those are people who don't live in Kenya; they live in a different place. Pochi la Biashara is making a world of a difference to many young people. And I have personal experience and witness from those business people in that platform and what Pochi la Biashara is doing. So we are building a bigger ecosystem of MSMEs, and not just from a government standpoint, but also from the private sector standpoint. And I want to congratulate Safaricom. I think you are doing something phenomenal in our ecosystem. Just look at it. The numbers she has just said. Out of 14,000 trades, 7,000, half of it is on a new platform that is 3 days old. You know? That tells you the amount of constraint there has been in terms of people accessing the capital markets. I will want to know what will happen in a month and 2 months. And especially when you open it up on Friday for people to use it to buy the Kenya Pipeline IPO. Speaking on the IPO, I want to encourage every Kenyan. You know, this is an opportunity to own some really high value asset, built over many years, and we will give the first priority to the people of Kenya. It doesn't matter who else wants to buy, that's okay. But the first priority goes to the people of Kenya. And we will start from the bottom. The person who buys the least gets all their shares. And then we will go up, and then everybody else will get their piece. It is an opportunity for us to democratize ownership, you know, for people to own a piece of something real good. And we are looking forward to more companies that will come into the market. At least from the public sector, we have a plan on how we will bring into the market more companies so that we can raise more resources for our own development, but also democratize wealth in our country. This week, as part of our reform process and as part of our commitment as government in the belief of corporate governance, We will be doing what we did with Kenya Pipeline. We will be doing it with KenGen, and we will be doing it with Kenya Re. What we will be doing is, at the moment, the entire board is appointed by government. But this week, we will now release, because we have private shareholders. Today, they don't have a place in the board, yet they are part owners. So we will be releasing the share that is owned by the private sector for board members to be appointed by the private sector. And it speaks to what George here said. George has said, we don't just bring money. We want to come and influence and grow the company. So the people who have invested in Kenya Re, the people who have invested in KenGen, don't just want to bring money. They want to participate in growing the company. And the challenge we have had, and I have told my fellow politicians, is that the problem we have is we appoint our friends into these boards. We appoint somebody who did not make it in the elections. They become board members and chairmen. You know, just know what that does to these companies. So we're changing that, and that is why I have given very firm guidance to Mbadi and his team that wherever we have private sector ownership, they should be represented in the boards to the extent of their ownership. I did also undertake to the country that the National Infrastructure Fund, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, will not be managed by politicians. They will not be managed by appointees. In fact, anybody who has been in the public sector, you must have a 5-year cool-off before you can be considered to run this, to be part of the board and of these institutions. Because again, we want to depoliticize, we want to re-risk these institutions so that they can serve the greater good of the public. This is not to say politicians are not good people, because we are politicians ourselves. Today, as we open the doors, I realized that there could still be barriers. And I want the capital markets, the Nairobi Securities Exchange, to work with the policymakers, the people at the Treasury, so that we can eliminate any barriers that may come in between the traders that are coming on board CD from doing the business they shifted downwards. Taxes on the small traders must be taken off or minimized, you know, so that if somebody is buying, somebody was giving an example, if somebody is buying a share of Kenya Re at 3 shillings and the fees is 2 shillings to be able to buy a share of 3 shillings, it doesn't make sense, you know. So the people here, you know, capital markets, Nairobi Securities Exchange, we want to change the regulations so that we can truly benefit the small traders. And you have seen they are coming in droves. Already in 3 days, they have 2% of the market value, you know, in 3 days. So they will take over this market in a very short while. So I think it is good for us to consider them and to work with them. And I want to underwrite and give you my undertaking that we will do what we must do from the policy side